Hi.
Okay, there we are. Yeah.
Hello again.
All right. Yeah. Well, anyway, though, so I just noticed, though, I remember you had sent some messages regarding some stuff that you'd like to take a look at.
Yes. Last time when we have spoken with you, I told you that the Cambly membership was just finished. And after that, I see how I developed my English with using Cambly. So we decided to extend my membership time.
Nice.
We add another 3 months duration. So we'll continue to develop my English, but this time I would like to talk about some specific topics. For example, today we can talk about job interview, especially countries for multinational companies. Nowadays, I'm trying to apply for a company, and at the same time, I practice some interview questions. Try to develop some answers. And maybe we can discuss about it. What's the conditions in Canada? What's the conditions in Mexico? What kind of interviews do companies apply? As I know, national companies try to use behavior-based interview questions, or sometimes they called competency-based. Totally same thing. They try to ask you some questions about your past experience. They wanted you to tell them some stories about these questions and try to predict your future behaviors on based of your past experiences. Some questions, for example, the toughest one. Tell me about a time when you had a big failure, or when you gain a promotion, or when you finish a project on time, or when you couldn't finish the project on time. This kind of questions, and they would like to you answer with a method.
You know what? A particular question that comes up, honestly, in every interview I've had. I'm pretty sure every interview. What is your biggest weakness? You ever heard of that? That's a tough one.
Yes, that's a tough one. Failure, weakness, these kind of negative questions are so tough because the interviewer, the candidate, focused on to tell positive things, because as a candidate you are trying to sell yourself, and you motivated the positive things. You train yourself to tell everything in positive, and when you face with a negative question, you just shocked, and in just 1 or 2 seconds time you have to find a proper answer. And there are some tricks to answer this kind of questions. First, you should keep the answer in the past. This is important because nobody wants to hire a person who has weak skills. So you should keep it in the past, and you should develop, you should heal your weakness, and you should show how you learn from your weakness or from your failure, and how you developed it, and you should prove it with the story.
Now, however, though,
results.
Now, you do have a good point there. However, I would think that giving an answer completely in the past would be more answering the question of how have you overcome your past obstacles or weaknesses.
And you shouldn't tell them a personality subject.
Well,
Because personalities cannot be healed, cannot be overcome.
Yeah.
Personality is your personality. For example, you can tell them something like that. I am so obsessed person, obsessed on something. Okay, you cannot heal it. If you're obsessed on something, you are still obsessed on this thing. Or you can tell them, I'm so, how can I say, how can I say, I'm so, I lost my temper quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm an angry guy.
Or you could say, I'm hot-headed.
Hot-headed, yes. Nobody would like to hire someone is hot-headed.
Yeah.
And it's a personality that you cannot heal. Sometimes you can heal some personalities, but not so easy.
Well, now, some things, though, like one thing that is always my go-to thing in an interview is I say I procrastinate. I would tell people, I say, I have a habit. My weakness is procrastination.
What is procrastination? I don't know this word.
There's a good.
Okay.
Is when you leave your duties to the last minute before doing them. So, you know, when you were in university,
when
for
you
example,
leave your duties to the last minute before doing them.
Yeah.
It's a general student habit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sunday night homeworks.
Yeah, exactly. It's and what I just
Procrastinate.
say, like I say I procrastinate and I have you know, I struggle with that, but because I know that I have this difficulty, I keep an agenda, or you know, I make schedules on my phone in order to overcome that, because if I don't use my schedules, I have trouble staying organized.
Okay, it's a time management question.
Exactly,
Good answer,
time
but
management.
you should at the same time prove it.
Yeah, exactly.
You couldn't say I heal my weakness, I develop myself. Okay, give me an example. What did you do before, and right now, what are you going to do? Sorry, right now, what do you do?
Exactly.
With a specific example. This is called the method STAR. You should star the first letters of the method. S for situation. First, you should describe the situation. Then the task you had to do, and the approach or action, both the same. What did you do? The task, what you had to do. The action, what did you do?
Yeah.
Maybe the same thing with the task, maybe moreover than task. You can go beyond the task, and generally you have to ask like that. And the results, and it should be not a must, but generally preferred way, accountable results.
Yeah. So, well, how
a
about
development in revenue, a development of save costings, a decreasing of costs or increasing of revenue, or to extend some people, or to develop some people, a team, to catch a timetable, to finalize a project before on time, or maybe you, as a failure, you can be late, but then how you fix this late, the overtime, these kind of things. So they don't accept the stories without a result, or just saying it's something like that. What's your hobbies? Okay, I like reading. It's not an answer. I like these kind of books, and for example, last year I read these writers, the specific name of the book, and I love it. I learned something from it, what kind of things, as a proof. And my future plan, in the same style, try to find and read, if I find the time, this book. Okay, now this is a hobby. When you say I like swimming, okay, everybody likes swimming. No, I like swimming, and as an amateur, I go every Thursday night to a swimming pool with a teacher.
and not as Oh, instead of saying as in a matter, you would say as a matter of fact.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah.
As a matter of fact. Yes. So even if you would like to talk about your hobbies, you should give a definition, exact definition, and exact timetable. Sometimes, if you have a hobby, you should spend on time on it. It should be something like that. I like playing football. Okay, when did you play last time? 10 years ago. Come on, it's not a hobby.
Yeah.
If you go to play football to somewhere, for example, every week, okay, we can count it as an hobby.
Yeah.
This kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Even they ask you the very tough question. The first one, generally in the beginning of interview, tell me about yourself. Who you are?
Always.
My name is Patrick A. Bateman. I was born in 6th of April 1975. I grew up Colorado. I have also one brother. No, they don't care about that. Which schools you graduated? Not the high school, the university with degree. And what about your thesis, for your graduation thesis maybe? Then in your professional life, what did you do? What are you doing actually right now if you are working? And these are 1 or maximum 1.5 minutes duration.
Yeah.
Then 3 or 4 minutes, the specific examples. I am right now working as a managing director for a company responsible for sales. I bring sales in 1 year time from $5 million to $7 million. And to make this, I use lean management techniques to train my team, to send them more customers. I try to make an analysis for past sales and predict which customer is a potential customer, which one is just rubbish. So I forward my team to the potential ones in a short time to gain more results. Okay, it's a good success story. So you discriminate customers, A level and B level, and focus on A levels. Send your team as a manager to increase sales. Okay, this kind of things.
Yeah,
but if you say something like that, I'm a manager and responsible of sales. I know sales very well. I have sales skills. So, what's the proof?
Yeah. Yeah, like
multinational companies a little bit would like to hear your stories, but real ones, exact ones, not fictional ones. Because when you tell them your story, they started to dive deep. They started to they call it peel the onion. They started to peel your skins and try to understand was your story is real or fictional, or how you act in this story. They started to ask you second or third questions. Okay, well, what did you learn? Or if you have chance to go back, what would you have done differently to make more sales? This kind of additional questions. So now I'm preparing myself for an interview with a multinational company, and almost every day I study.
Yeah. Quick question here. Okay, so could you tell me? I'm going to give you two options here. Tell me which you feel is correct. Okay, so one of them. Oh wait, one moment. Okay. Responsible of sales or responsible for sales? Which would you say?
I think responsible of sales, I think.
In fact, responsible for would be
really.
Yeah, responsible for.
Responsible. Yes. as a meaning, responsible from something. Yes, responsible for whatever, but I don't know.
No,
maybe I use the wrong one. Responsible of sales.
Yeah. Oh,
when
you were speaking, you would use.
No, I am responsible for sales. Sure.
That's it. That's what we want. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. No, great, man. Yeah. So
what about responsible to someone?
Pardon me?
Responsible to someone. I'm responsible to Patrick, so I had to do my homework.
The thing is, yeah, okay, that's one thing, responsible to, but that's more, it would be more likely to say accountable to. Aha. Instead of saying responsible to, we would more commonly say accountable to.
Okay. What about responsible from someone?
It's more like responsible for someone means that you take care of them. So, for example,
for or from?
Pardon?
For or from? Responsible for or responsible from?
Never from.
Responsible for someone means taking care of someone.
Exactly. Like, you know, if you have any younger brothers, well, then you would have been responsible for them when you were younger.
What about you are responsible for the acts of someone?
Oh, okay. Well, then it would still be responsible for their actions. Or you could also say held accountable for their actions. Responsible for their actions or held accountable for their actions.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I wouldn't lie to you on that one.
What about Canada?
The job opportunities?
Yes.
These days, you know, these days nothing. But these days they have too many jobs. They got to send people home. They don't have enough jobs. But, you know, if you were to have looked a month ago, you would have found many opportunities. Just they would have been begging for you to come. And, you know, most likely in the future, Canada doesn't get hit so hard by recessions because the banks are generally controlled by the government. And so the money that's put out, inflation doesn't go through the roof, is the point. From that, we'll say within 2 years, you know, when the economy bounces back. Well, then I would say for engineers, sorry, what is your specific type of engineering again? I'm
industrial engineer and computer programmer.
Okay. Well, regarding computer programming, yes, most certainly.
But I haven't programmed any, I haven't developed any software for 20 years.
I'd start brushing up on that. It's because think about this, right? Come the end of this recession, by the time that this all ends and the economy is back up and running again, for one, who knows who will be in power, right? China might be taking over power from the United States. Who knows? That is the speculation of what's happening here.
But I manage so many people who were responsible for developing softwares.
Okay.
Because I have an advantage. I'm computer programmer based industrial engineer, and I have a master's degree, and I'm working in a management level. So I run several projects at the same time, sometimes simultaneously, and I know how to prepare an algorithm. The main planning session of programming, you should first write down the algorithm, the logic. How can I describe the logic? The logic sentences of a program without specific codes. You can just write in English, for example. Just an algorithm, or just draw some.
Like you don't need to do all the automatic
the options, what you would like to do with the program. Of course, you should know how a software works.
Yeah.
Then the developers follow your instructions from the algorithm to develop the software, the real program codes. Sometimes C#, sometimes Pascal, sometimes Fox Pro, sometimes Access, sometimes Python. Generally, today nowadays it's so popular, especially for data engineering. This kind of programming languages.
Yeah. Well, then absolutely, you know, working with that in that realm frequently is going to give you a big advantage. Because the fact is, a lot of the older guys, you know, they don't know that much about it, kind of thing. They don't know much about software development. And the younger guys don't have the experience to know where things come from. But like you say, you know, you work with the code that writes the code, kind of thing. This is and that's a pretty cool thing right there.
But there is also a problem, Patrick. I saw from younger developers, especially below the age of 20, they know super codes. They know everything about coding, but they just know the language, programming language, which they only focus on. They don't know, for example, the software programming starts with the assembler code, the real machine coding. But today's developers, maybe none of them, familiar with assembler codes. First assembler done, then C build on these codes, then some visual programming codes build on it, and then modular-based programming build on them. Now today's young developers know the modular-based programming, so they just bring some particular sentences together and to develop or to write a program. But they don't know there are thousands of codes are running at the background. I remember while I was studying in programming, the lecturer demanded us just to develop a simple editor screen, just a screen you can write A, B, C on keyboard. That's all.
Yeah.
Not with assembler codes. We wrote down maybe 2,000-3,000 codes to just design an editor screen. And it's just on a black screen on a DOS machine. You know, DOS operating system. That's all. But thousands of codes just to move cursor from top corner, just a letter, just a letter right. Thousands of codes.
Yeah.
Because you have to control everything. The light, blipping, the cursor's movement, the keyboard, everything. But today's young developers doesn't have any idea about it. So I see my generation the luckiest one. We know the before, and we can predict the future.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Well, yeah, Kerem, very interesting there, and I mean clearly extensive experience. Look in Canada. Doesn't hurt to check it out, man. And I do hope to see you there someday, buddy.
We have just 2 seconds.
See you soon, man.
I hope